What's going on, guys? I am Jada Black. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like this video and share it as well. I'm gonna talk about Cam Newton. This is an extended commentary. I did a video on Cam Newton having a back and forth with a young man at his football camp, and in it I spoke about how Cam asked to speak to the guy's father. And I also talked about the reactions from other athletes and individuals. There was one person in particular, Jemele Hill. I've spoken about her before. And she had a back and forth, and I actually tweeted about it. And I'll put it in the video here. In it, she's having a conversation with someone who brought up the fact that, you know, these young males are being raised by women. And they're being spoiled. And they're not getting disciplined. And they just don't have any father figure there, is what he was getting to. All right, makes sense, right? But then Jemele Hill responds because she talked about putting hands on the young man. So we want to deal with what happened emotionally in that moment instead of looking at the fact that this guy may have grown up in a household with no father. So she wants to go in and talk about how not cool for you to single out women like that, as if there haven't been generations of women who have raised upstanding young men. LeBron James was raised by a single mother. Y'all always find a way to blame women. LeBron James, people like to bring up LeBron James. LeBron James got out of his situation because of basketball, because he had mentors, like his basketball coach when he was very young. He had people there. He had the right system there to keep him going. His mother is an example of exceeding expectations despite your upbringing. And his mother is the prime example of someone who clearly did not have a direction in life. And if it wasn't for LeBron James, ain't getting where he was due to the mentors and the coaches he had in his life, ain't no telling what he's going to do. But what people like Jemele Hill failed to understand is that, especially in the melanated community, there's a disdain towards male leadership. And it comes from a lot of the women who are raising children on their own. They talk about how the daddy is useless, basically. They like to denigrate him in front of the other kids, or him himself, or family members. They denigrate this guy. So he views his father as the problem, not his mother, who is not doing much to get him out of that situation. He tends to have a disdain towards his father, towards male leadership, right? They don't respect it. They don't respect male authority. The fact that you had this young man at Cam Newton's football camp, going back and forth with him, disrespecting him, people saying, well, it was, they were jawing back and forth. Okay, jaw back and forth with the players. Why are you jawing back and forth with the coaches as if they're food? You never know. You may need Cam Newton years from now, or you may need some other coaches, mentor, players, that you want to get in contact with. They're going to hold this against you, right? And of course, you have a lot of people who went at this young man, and rightfully so. You can't be going to nobody's camp talking crap to them. They're not one, but see, that's what happens when these guys don't have male leadership. This is why Cam Newton asked to speak to this guy's father, because Cam was not going to go back and forth with this guy. He was not going to go back and forth with this young man. He wasn't. He said, listen, I'll talk to your father, but he ain't had a father. Come from a single parent household. Mother not really paying no attention. Him off doing what he wants to do. A lot of these communities, these melanated communities, have a lot of young males walking around, but they don't have a lot of men. And in the men in that communities, a lot of those guys are older, they're elderly. The young males are not gonna respect those guys. They're not gonna want to seek advice from them, because a lot of them had to grow up fast. due to the fact they were with they grew up with an incompetent single mother. And the thing is this: when you have a woman living on government assistance, having multiple kids by men who financially are just as bad off as they are, at some point you have to look at that. We want to look at what's going on now instead of the symptoms, right? The root of the situation. And the root of this situation is that you had a young man who clearly did not respect Cam Newton enough to try to diss him, talk about he's a free agent. You can understand that this young man has a lot of confidence, but you got to know that you got to temper that confidence into your competition. Cam Newton is not your competition, but in the eyes of this young man, this young male, everybody's his competition, whether they're older than him or younger than him, because he grew up with not having a lot of respect for male authority. And that's what you see what's going on. But you got people out here that want to ignore that because we're bringing up single mothers. Single mothers have a lot to do with this. Go to these melanated communities. Look at the carnage that's going on. Look at the crime. Those are by fatherless males. No direction in life whatsoever. Full of emotion. Social media is full of emotion. And that's what these guys display. They show no lack of respect towards their elders, towards men who have been successful. If anything, you should be watching and learning from this guy, right? And again, you can be joined back and forth with the competition, but again, Cam Newton ain't your competition. Now, it's different if Cam Newton just singled him out and just started talking crap to him, but I don't believe that's how that worked. And then Cam Newton even posted a follow-up video where he's talking to the guy, because Cam Newton had a father, so he knows what it's like to deal with a logical male voice in his life who wasn't a coach or a mentor. It was his father. A lot of these young males are missing father figures in their life. That's why they're wandering aimlessly around. No logic, no reason, no common sense. They're just lost. And that's the sad part. You got people that want to go off on this young man, but they don't want to look at the fact this guy may not have had a father in his life. He has no respect for male authority. He has no respect for male leadership. They don't want to look at that. The fact that he may come from an environment where there's a bunch of women raising the males. They just want to look at the problem. You got Jamel here talking about how somebody basically somebody should put hands on the guy. This is a young team. And you know what's crazy? The same people who are talking about this young male and how poorly he acted and how they would want to put their left and their right on him. If you had to guess the ethnicity of the coach that this young man was going at, let's say he was Caucasian, would y'all see the same outrage? Would you see the same outrage? He didn't disrespect. It wasn't a situation where Cam was disrespected by a non-melanated person. This was a young black male talking to Cam like Cam was one of his peers. And we're supposed to ignore that. All you people who talk about the problems that is going on with melanated people, how we're marginalized, how we're not respected, we don't even respect each other. We don't respect each other. So if we don't respect each other, nobody is going to respect us. We can't look for respect if we don't respect each other, if we don't respect ourselves. That young male had no respect for Cam, and that was Cam Newton's camp. That was Cam Newton. He put that on. But still, he saw Cam Newton as one of his peers because in his mind, Cam Newton isn't playing on the team. So therefore, he's one of my peers. He's a civilian. That's that ignorance. That's that arrogance. But that's who's running around these communities. There's a bunch of guys like that running around these black communities. They are. They're running around, running these communities. into the ground. And we don't want to talk about how these guys are coming from single mother households. They grow up full of emotion. They grow up with a disdain towards other men, which perpetuates through the violence that these guys do to each other. I mean, look at the rapper from Alabama, Honeycomb Brazy. Look at two guys, I'm gonna say two guys, but guys, other males who are beefing with him. Look at what they did to him or his family members, because we have no respect for each other whatsoever. And we're supposed to ignore that. You cannot move a community forward if the men in the community don't like each other, if the men in the community don't respect each other, and they don't respect the women, because the women haven't made themselves respectable. You got these women who are giving their bodies to men who can't do anything for them, and they waste the best years of their life. They have children and procreate with men who they end up having disdain towards, and they teach that disdain to their sons. And we wonder why these guys grow up to be the way that they are.